Welcome, science friends, to Intro to Macromolecules. Virtually every molecule in living things are made of these 7 elements: carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, and sulfur. Why should we care? Well, looking at our bodies, we contain about this much of each of the elements. We are made of 65% oxygen, 18% carbon, 10% hydrogen, 3% nitrogen, and the rest is kind of a mixture of those last 2 atoms. Organic compounds contain carbon. Carbon is special because it contains 4 valence or outer electrons, giving it the ability to form millions of different compounds. Carbon can bond with up to 4 other atoms. So in this example, we can see we have a carbon atom in the middle, and we've bonded the carbon with 4 other hydrogen atoms. This allows really big, gigantic molecules that can be built from carbon because there's so many places for other atoms to attach. Carbon also likes to bond with other carbon atoms to form new structures. 2 of the most common are carbon chains, like we see here, and carbon rings. Now, life is way too big to be made of just little simple molecules. We have atoms really small, they make molecules, and we start getting bigger and bigger structures like we saw in our levels of organization, going all the way up to macroorganisms like us, humans. But we're so big that just really simple molecules is not going to cut it. So instead, life is made up of combinations of small molecules into really big, huge molecules called macromolecules. Macro means big, so big molecules. There are 4 macromolecules we're going to learn about: carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. Now, macromolecules are what we call polymers. Monomers are very small individual units. The prefix mono means one or single. So really small individual molecules or even atoms here. The other vocab term here is polymers. Poly means many, so we can make a really big, large molecule of repeating monomers or small pieces. So we have small pieces of monomers, they link together and form bonds to create bigger molecules called polymers. Really strong bonds are formed between these monomers to make sure our polymers are going to be able to stay together in their large molecule. Another great way to think about it is like a mosaic. We put together all these little small pieces that repeat over and over and over again. Those are our monomers. And once we put enough pieces together, we get a larger picture, in the case of a mosaic, or a larger molecule called a polymer. So all those little tiny pieces work together to create one larger thing, in this case, a larger molecule or a macromolecule, polymers. Now, life is constantly breaking or building our polymers. We break them down, like when you eat a hamburger, your body needs to break it down so we can use all of the nutrients in the hamburger, so that we can also take those nutrients we broke down to build them up into things that we can use that's good for our body. So when we build a polymer, this is called synthesis. We are synthesizing or creating a new molecule. And in order to do that, we need to remove or take out water, H2O. One of those monomers donates an OH, and the other monomer donates an H+, leaving us with 2 H's and an O, or water. And then when they get stuck together, when we remove the water with that bond, now we have a connection to start creating our polymer. Now this requires energy and enzymes. Enzymes kind of do a lot of the work in our bodies, and they need energy in order to do that work. So when we talk about synthesis, we need energy to do that work. This is called dehydration synthesis. Dehydration means removing water. So if you're feeling dehydrated, you don't have enough water. You've removed water from your body. And synthesis, again, means building or creating. We're removing water to form a bond between our monomers. Here's what it looks like, a little animation here. So we're going to lose an OH from one and an H from another. That's going to give us our water. And then a bond is formed between the 2 monomers to form a polymer. We also need to break down polymers in order to use those pieces later when we go back through synthesis. So breaking down, we actually do the opposite of what we did in synthesis. We add in water to split apart that bond. So again, it's just the opposite. We're going to break off one of the monitors by splitting it, and then we break apart water so that we can put hydrogen and an OH to the ends that need it. And now we've separated two of those monomers through hydrolysis, or the hydration reaction. We added water to break a bond. Just like synthesis, this requires enzymes, but in this case, it releases energy. So instead of taking energy, it releases energy. It gives us energy when we break apart these molecules. Here's a little GIF to show us. We have an OH coming in, and it breaks apart the bond, giving us two separate monomers from our original polymer. Now, life is a never-ending series of hydration and dehydration reactions, that breaking and building of all of those molecules. We eat something, we break it down so that we can use those pieces to build back up things that we need, those macromolecules. Here's another diagram showing us that hydration, or breaking down. We insert water to break apart those bonds, and building, we take away water, we dehydrate in order to form those bonds to make our new molecules. This is another great reason why life is made up of so much water. We need water to do both of these things, breaking down and building. Macromolecules, you are what you eat. Whatever you eat, that's going to be used in your body, and all of those nutrients you get from the things you eat will be used again in your body to make the molecules we need to continue to survive. So it's really important that when we think about the things we eat a nice variety, a balanced diet between all of our different types of food groups. We're going to investigate what those are when we look at our different macromolecules. That was Intro to Macromolecules. I hope it helped.